All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another tutoring lesson. Today we're going to talk about chemistry. And towards the beginning of the year, everyone always talks about the periodic table. I know it can be a daunting task to kind of look at all of it at once. There's a lot of little symbols, and I wouldn't worry too much about memorizing each one. Depends how strict your teacher is. But over time, when using all of the different elements, you'll start to get familiar with where they are and what their symbol is. Um, so this is your regular periodic table, and what kind of helps, just like a general overview to kind of look at, is the different sections. So this whole middle section, a lot of them, well, I shouldn't say a lot of them, but some of them are metals that you've heard about. Some real popular ones: copper, silver, gold, mercury, zinc, platinum, iron. Those are all solid metals that you've heard about. And then on this side, these are highly reactive metals. They're always like in a compound with something else, but some you might have heard of, like potassium, sodium, calcium. Those are real common ones. And then on this side, here's where you get a lot of the non-metals and some ones that so let me write this down, non-metal. You might have heard of these ones: oxygen, nitrogen, carbon. Carbon's in absolutely everything. And the reason I'm just kind of showing you these ones is because they're used a lot. And when you start to do different equations and chemistry problems with them, you're going to see these elements used a lot. So let's talk about what just a regular atom is and what a mass number means. So I'm going to denote the three different particles in an atom with different symbols. So we're going to take a closer look at nitrogen, which was right up, right up here at number 7. Okay, so nitrogen, every atom has 3 different parts. I'm going to do a plus sign for protons. I'm going to do let's just do a N in a circle for a neutron. And I'm going to put the charges on these as well. And then I'm going to do a negative sign for an electron. Okay? Now, protons start with a P. It's positive, it's easy. It's got a +1 charge. Neutrons actually have a 0 charge. And electrons, they're just these tiny little particles floating around the central part of an atom. They have a negative charge. Okay? So let's just take a quick look at nitrogen. I'm going to draw this down here. Okay. So the center is called the nucleus. And then everything surrounding that is going to be our electrons. So they're like kind of these concentric circles around them. So let's do what nitrogen has, which is, so this is like, if you're going to pay attention to anything in this video, this is the most important part. The number on top, the number of the element, is the number of protons. Okay, so the number of the element is the number of protons. So in this central part, I'm going to put 7 protons. That'll make it nitrogen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm also going to put 7 electrons on the outside, because if it's nitrogen by itself, it's going to have the same number of protons and electrons. So I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And these are kind of like swirling around. There's a whole huge chapter on like where they are, and it's called an electron cloud, but we don't need to get into that quite yet. And what I've left out is the neutrons. You may have heard the term, and I'll do it right here, mass number, or atomic mass. They're related, okay? So atomic mass. They're not the same thing, but they're very, very much related. So the mass number, normally you might see it written like this, N with the atomic number up here and the mass number down here. What does that 14 mean? If you had to guess, how do you get, if I have 7 protons, I'm gonna have 7 neutrons. Okay, so I'm gonna draw those in real quick. Those are gonna be in blue. Don't really have a ton of room, but they're kind of on, they're in a ball, right? So they can be on top of each other. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's all in the nucleus. There's this like small core of positive protons and then neutral neutrons. And they're surrounded by this cloud of electrons. Now, here is a very important part. I'm going to do over here. So, all mass of an atom is in the nucleus. So, if I have 7 protons and 7 neutrons, so 7 proton plus 7 neutron gives me a mass of 14, and they call it AMU, which is atomic mass units. Okay, so when I'm looking at nitrogen, the easiest way to think of it is how many protons does it have? Well, that's always related to the atomic number right there, that number up top. I'm going to delete it for a second and I'll bring it back. Okay, so everywhere up here, so element number 9, fluorine, you guessed it, has 9 protons, 9 neutrons, 9 electrons. Bromine, element number 35, has 35 protons, 35 neutrons. And then this number, which we'll get into the next video, the reason it has a decimal is because it's an average of a lot of different weights they found in nature. So they actually take like a small sample of these, find out how many atoms it is, and then find the weight. That's why it has a decimal, because it's like an average. But in general, we are talking about how many protons, how many neutrons, and how many electrons. They're normally all equal. The number of protons is always equal to the element number it is. The number of protons and neutrons are equal, and the number of electrons is equal. And in the next video, we'll talk about a little bit of variation, but as a start, this should help. All right. So I hope everyone enjoyed this video, and we'll dive a little deeper into chemistry in the next one. Bye.